John, as we're, it's great hearing this tiered release or staggered release, as it was called, and knowing again, it was, as you just brought up, what the tactics, this NSA and the CIA, what the tactics would be, when Pancake becomes this bigger thing that they'll take notice of once it's a threat that they can't disrupt it in the traditional ways. How do you see this potentially changing just the landscape of freedom of speech? Because we're in a country now that is not a democracy. If you're shutting down RT,
that's right.
That's not a democracy. I mean, so then they should be able to, if you don't like what they're saying, well, then are we going to shut down Fox News next? I don't agree with Fox News. I don't agree with MSNBC. Do we shut them down? I mean, so, cause like I said, I've been demonetized for 15 months now, and I'm a comedian in an apartment, you know what I mean? Talking about, what's wrong with this country. And I'm a threat. I'm a comedian who talks about surfing, and Batman is also a threat. Like, this is just maddening to me. So how do you see?
Yeah. This is why the prosecution of Julian Assange is so dangerous. This exactly is the reason why Julian's case is such a slippery slope, because you use the Espionage Act to prosecute a journalist. And even if you don't believe that he's a journalist, which I do, you can't deny that he's a publisher. And so if he's convicted under the Espionage Act, then what's to keep the Washington Post national security reporter from being convicted, or the Wall Street Journal, or the New York Times, whoever in the White House, it happens to be in the White House, if he doesn't like something that's been written, and there's one little kernel of information that, may or may not be legitimately classified, what's to keep the White House from going after that next person? So we're all in danger. You're exactly right, Graham, that we're not in a democracy. If we were in a democracy, we as adults would be able to choose the sources of news that we want to consume. And we just simply can't do that. I can't go anymore to Press TV to get the Iranian side of a story, or to Telesur, or to RT America. I can't even go to Al Jazeera America. It doesn't even exist anymore. So this is something that is going to, I think, open a path that had been closed, or has been closed to us. This is McCarthyism all over again. I hate speaking in hyperbole, but I really don't believe this is hyperbole. It's dangerous. This is another thing, and forgive me for getting on a soapbox, but when I was assigned to the State Department for a few years, I was the human rights officer, and I had to write the human rights report every year for the country that I was assigned to. I was in Bahrain, and send it to Congress. And I used to say, we profess to be this shining beacon of hope for democracy and civil rights and human rights and civil liberties, and it's bullshit. What would a host country think, for example, when John Kiriakou, the human rights guy, goes into the Minister of Interior's office and says, "Your Excellency, I have to warn you, your men beat this 15-year-old boy to death the other day because he marched in a pro-democracy demonstration. That is illegal. It's an extrajudicial killing, and I'm going to put it in the human rights report." And then 15 minutes later, the CIA station chief walks in and says, "Don't listen to the human rights guy. We want you to open a secret prison here where we can bring people to be tortured. Don't tell anybody, and we're going to give you $50 million to cover the costs and grease the right palms." Well, it's the same thing with information. We say one thing, and then we do the completely opposite thing. This is an antidote to that. It's an antidote because it's based overseas. It is utterly and completely transparent, and will protect the system. The system will protect itself. Mm-hmm. So people really can have a free exchange of ideas, something that just simply doesn't exist on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on any of these other platforms. Not anymore.
And something I just want to make sure I add there too, we talk about the Espionage Act, right, and how atrocious it is that's being used in this way. Look, Julian's not an American citizen, right?
Right. Which makes it even more dangerous.
It's unreal, right? So it just goes to show the danger of real power in these situations. We at Panquake, we not only understand these kinds of things, but we take our role seriously as an international presence, right? Yeah. We're not going to be doing the bidding of some government based upon some government thing, right? We really want to have an information system that has free flow of information all over the world between anybody who wants to connect to anybody else using our network. And that's the thing that really is sacrosanct about the model we're trying to build. So I founded something called Privacy Lab at Yale. That's part of something called the Information Society Project. It's called that because we have an information society, right? And we need to take seriously the role of free flow of information and how vital that is to a democracy, if we're going to have a democracy, but also if we're just going to have normal conversations between, as friends, as family, without this intense polarization and animosity that's been brewing. All of that manipulation, all of that's happened has a lot to do with the locking down of the information system. Some of that is for private data brokers who want to spy on us and ostensibly sell us things, right? Some of that is from these, government spies and agencies which are working in tandem with the private, entities. And some of that are folks who are very powerful, who are trying to push propaganda, push control of populations, shut down movements, shut down activists, shut down anybody who has an impact that goes against their plans and schemes. And, the role that something like Panquake.com can play in opening up that information system can't be, overstated. It is absolutely incredible what can happen when we are allowed to speak to each other, when we are allowed to make our own decisions based upon varying information instead of being sold some lines, some propaganda. So.
How much do you think, as we wrap up here, because I know you guys got to go, I know you've been doing interviews all day and I appreciate your time. How much is the Bitcoin white paper, did it influence the formulation of Panquake?
That's a general question. Sure. So I love that you say we don't have that much time left, and then give me that. No.
And then give me this just massive, there's no way to answer this question in less than 10 minutes, but
no, it's fine.
We're not pressed for time. I'm just respecting, I know you guys are busy, but answer how you want to answer.
So what blockchain technology represents is a really clever way, right, of verifying information, reaching consensus so that you can have machines talk to each other without central authority, right? So in the sense where Bitcoin does accomplish that, although a lot of it, of course, has been centralized in exchanges and so on and so forth, but in the sense where it does accomplish that, that's similar to what we're trying to do with Panquake. Now, we care about free flow of information and content and so on. So we have a content based blockchain, right? But we can have nodes in the network reach consensus and verify that, hey, John sent a Quake is what we're calling our short messages, and be able to say, hey, this belongs on the blockchain. John's a verified, Panquake user, and then commit that to the blockchain record. That blockchain is basically a ledger or a spreadsheet, however you want to think of it, that can then be shared and broadcast around the world to all these other machines on the network. Unlike the model where, you have a big tech company that has some database somewhere in some unknown location, and they can just tweak and modify and change it, literally rewriting history, right? Which we see, or ban somebody and just everything goes poof, right? Unless it's been archived and so on and so forth. That's something else I should bring up, I guess, just real quickly. We take very seriously, the archiving of information as well. We want to solve in some way the thing that's called bit rot, right? We want to make sure that people can not only share information, but that the information that they're sharing on Panquake will be resilient to censorship itself. And we have some clever things we're working on from that standpoint too. We want to make sure if you share an article from something like Al Jazeera English or some other thing that's being blocked, banned, or disappears, that there's some permanence of the information you're sharing in our network too. So we're working on that.
All right. Well, I mean, this is, I really appreciate your time. And where can people go to support this?
Panquake.com/donate. You also can go panquake.com/crypto to donate cryptocurrency. We also have a Substack, Talk Liberation, which is not paywalled, but if you do subscribe, your money for subscribing, $5 a month, goes towards the Panquake build, all of that money. Those are the ways you can support us. But the other thing is we need you as regular people to be our media. So far, that's how we've succeeded. And if you can help amplify us, talk about us, share some of our videos, share this stream, please. That's the way that we're going to win. That's the way that we're going to get there. So,
Amen.
Right on. Thank you, especially, for doing this, taking the time, and especially in light of what just happened with the Julian ruling. It's like John said, it's important now more than ever. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much, John Kiriaki and John O'Brien.
Thanks a lot.
Guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood and go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.